I should have been there. But I can tell you, because I had to apologize to some of the hosts countries, that they understood that the most important thing I can do for them and the most important thing I can do for the bilateral relationship in America's reputation is making sure that we reopen our government and we don't default. So I don't think it's going to do lasting damage. As I said, if we deal with this the way we should, then folks around the world will attribute this to the usual messy process of American democracy, but it doesn't do lasting damage. In the short term, I would characterize it as missed opportunities. We continue to be the one indispensable nation. There are countries across Asia who have welcomed our pivot because they want to do business with us. They admire our economy. They admire our entrepreneurs. They know that their growth is going to be contingent on working with us. They care about the security environment that we help maintain, and the freedom of navigation and commerce that is so important to them. So it's not as if they've got other places to go. They want us to be there, and they want to work with us. But in each of these big meetings that we have around the world, a lot of business gets done. And in the same way that a CEO of a company, if they want to close a deal, aren't going to do it by phone. They want to show up and look at somebody eye to eye and tell them why it's important and shake hands on a deal. The same thing is true with respect to world leaders. And the irony is, our teams probably do more to organize a lot of these multilateral forums and set the agenda than anybody. I mean, we end up being engaged much more than China, for example, in setting the agenda and moving this stuff forward. And so when it's almost like me not showing up to my own party. I think it creates a sense of concern on the part of other leaders, but as long as we get through this, they'll understand it, and we'll be able to, I believe, still get these deals done. The last point I'd make, though, is we can't do it every 3 months, right? I mean, back in the 90s, we had a government shutdown. That happened one time, and then after that, the Republican Party and Mr. Gingrich realized this isn't a sensible way to do business, that we shouldn't engage in brinksmanship like this. And then they started having a serious conversation with President Clinton about a whole range of issues, and they got some things that they wanted. They had to give the Democrats some things that the Democrats wanted. But it took on a sense of normal democratic process. So here we already went through this once back in 2011. And then at the end of last year, right after my election, we went through something similar with the so-called fiscal cliff, where Republicans wouldn't negotiate about taxes, despite the fact that taxes actually went up anyway, even though they refused to negotiate. And they could actually have gotten some things from us that they wanted if they had been willing to engage in normal negotiations. So we've got to stop repeating this pattern. I know the American people are tired of it. And to all the American people, I apologize that you have to go through this stuff every 3 months, it seems like. And Lord knows I'm tired of it. But at some point, we've got to kind of break these habits and get back to the point where everybody understands that in negotiations there is give and there is take. And you do not hold people hostage or engage in ransom taking to get 100% of your way. And you don't suggest that somehow a health care bill that you don't agree with is destroying the republic or is a grand socialist scheme. If you disagree with certain aspects of it, tell us what you disagree with, and let's work on it. You know, if you're concerned about long-term debt, that's a good thing to be concerned about. But don't pretend as if America's going bankrupt at a time when the deficits have been cut in half. So that's what the American people, I think, expect, is just civility, common sense, give and take, compromise. Those aren't dirty words. There's nothing wrong with them. And, you know, I think the American people understand, you know, I have flaws. Michelle will tell you. One of them is not that I'm unwilling to compromise. I've been willing to compromise my entire political career. And I don't believe that I have the answers to everything, and it's my way or the highway. But I'm not going to breach a basic principle that would weaken the presidency, change our democracy, and do great damage to ordinary people, just in order to go along with what the House Republicans are talking about. Okay.